To this competitive exam cell inauguration program. Now let's start this program by invocation. I cordially welcome Sri Narayanappa Sir, Managing Trustee of Padma Shri Group of Institutions, Sri Satish Sir, Chairman of Padma Shri Group of Institutions, Professor Rajesh Shenoy Sir, Director of Padma Shri Group of Institutions, and our dear Principal Ma'am, Dr. Anuradha Ma'am, and our chief guest speakers today, Sri Girish Sir and Sri Manjunath Sir. I welcome you all to come on to the dais. Now, let's begin the program by invocation and lamp lighting. I request the dignitaries on the dais to do the lamp lighting. Please stand. In this competitive world, all the competent, capable, skilled people, they crack easily the competitive exams like UPSC Civil Service Examinations, GATE, CSIR Net, ICIR Net, Bank Test, and Indian Navy Test, etc. These exams require thorough study of the subjects, because these kinds of exams will mainly give importance to the conceptual understanding rather than routine learning. So, students who prepare for these exams should get the study of their subjects well and get deep understanding of the curriculum. At this juncture, our college has taken initiative step to support our students who are really interested and enthusiastic to crack exams. Today, we are going to inaugurate the Padma Shri Competitive Exam Cell. Now, I request Principal Ma'am to welcome the guest speakers by offering them a gift. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request our dear Principal Ma'am to address the gathering.
Hello, Namaskara. It was a great morning to see all the young aspirants who are eagerly waiting to carve their career. As a small step and a small initiative, we have started this competitive examination cell today with great support by the distinguished speakers and chief guests of honor. I really thank you for making it possible, sir. And I welcome to Padma Shri group of institutions for inaugurating competitive examination cell. I just want to give you 2 or 3 small hints how this cell is going to function and why it is required. I'll not take much time and I don't want to be in between you and our honorable chief guest. The competitive examination cell, when it comes, as soon as whenever after your PUC or after your graduation, definitely we need to settle down. What are the various options? Most of us don't know the various options. And now, because of this private sector booming and manufacturing sector booming and exports and imports booming, everybody's vision is changing. But lot can happen the other way around. When we were children, if anybody has to settle, they used to ask first question is, if I want to look for a groom for my daughter or if I want to look for any settlement, our parents used to ask, however small it is it a government job? That was the first question, what our parents used to ask in good olden days. Now the scenario though changed, but I feel the segment is vast, opportunities are vast. If you want to do something, definitely there is lot of scope in this services sector. Not only, see, many of you may be science students and you might be thinking that, why should I know about this? I'm not interested. It is not so. If you want to become a scientist in a CSIR organization, there will be an exam. If you want to become a food inspector in Food Council of India, there will be an exam. All these exams will be segmented into 2-3 categories. One is, first section will be the preparation for aptitude, English and common general knowledge. Then your subject comes, either it is civils or it is state services or it is forest services or it is banking or railways, whatever so it is. In this, the common thing is general knowledge, general aptitude and general English. So all of us should be ready. Even if you enter into private sector, your communication skills, your aptitude, attitude matters. If you prepare for these examinations, you will be having a wonderful way forward. That's what we are going to, how we are going to operate, why you should know. Now, I want to tell you, there will be 3 segments in our Padma Shri competitive examination cell. One segment will be dealing with general competitive examinations in government services. It can be anything. And second one will be dealing with your UGC net SLET examinations to have higher education or to settle in as a lecturer or as a teacher. The third segment will be dealing with food courses like Food Corporation of India and those kind of examinations, CSI scientist positions, these kind of examinations. We have 3 team leaders for these things, and these 3 team leaders after our sessions will be channelizing. You can become members if you are very serious about it, and every day we will be having online or offline classes based upon the thing, and we will try to crack it together and carve our future. And you can't even imagine how wonderful it is to be in services or to have a settled government job and to do service to the society. With this small introduction, I again welcome Girish sir and Manjuna sir for this meeting, and I am really happy to see this pleasant morning. So many student aspirants who are trying to carve their future, who are trying to make it wonderful. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Dr. Nagamani ma'am to introduce our guest speakers. If you want to live a happy life, tie it a goal, not to the people or objects, as quoted by Albert Einstein. Good morning, respected dignitaries on the desk, my dear colleagues and dear students. I feel much honored to introduce our guest for the day, Shri Girish HC, Assistant Commissioner, Commercial Taxes, Bangalore. Shri Manjunath B, UPSC Batch Mentor and Coordinator, Dr. Rajkumar Academy for Civil Services, Bangalore. Shri Girish HC pursued Bachelor of Engineering degree in Electronics and Communications from Bangalore Institute of Technology. Post his graduation, Sir served as software engineer in IBM for 1 year. Further, he pitched in as head administrative and business development at Dr. Rajkumar Academy for Civil Services, mentoring many aspiring students to crack UPSC exams. Sir successfully cleared both UPSC and KPSC exams and joined to serve our state as Assistant Commissioner Commercial Taxes. Now I request Girish sir to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to, first of all, congratulate and appreciate Padma Shri group of institutions to think or to have actually started this competitive cell. Why this competition? Why I am exclusively at the start of the speech I am congratulating them is most of the institutes across Karnataka, right, from the top to the middle institutions, the ones which have just started. I'm talking about all these institutions put together. Not many or very few, right? You can count them in single digits. There are institutions which have understood and realized the importance of having a separate cell for competitive exam, right? So when we started off in prior to getting into the government services, I was working in Dr. Rajkumar Academy right from the start of the institution. I have been there, something like a founding member. So at the start, I'm talking about 2017 and late 2016 and early 2017, when Dr. Rajkumar family, when they wanted to start this, and Dr. Rajkumar's grandson, Arvind Rajkumar's son, Dr. Rajkumar's grandson, and his wife, when they wanted to start this institute, at the beginning we had approached many colleges, and when we said that why don't you also set up an competitive cell, or why don't you conduct workshops where students will have at least a basic awareness of what these exams are, many people turned it down, saying that it is not really required, or people from Karnataka are not too keen on these kind of exams, right? But then not many people realize the importance of this in the long run. So I would like to congratulate Principal Ma'am, Chairperson, Shri Narayanappa, Shri Satish sir, all of them, who have actually come up with this noble thought, and they have started this cell. Right? So that's I think it's a great start and an excellent opportunity for all of you to have a glimpse and then of this what civil services are, and then you can get into your preparations completely right from your degree. Right? So it plays a very, very important role, and I'm sure this cell in the long run will be one of the hallmarks of these institutions. Right? So with that, we will go into today's main agenda. That is, most of you see, by the way, I'm actually conversing completely in English because at the start I was told that there are students from across India here. ಬರೀ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯವರಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಇಡೀ ಸಂಭಾಷಣೆಯನ್ನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ನಡೆಸಬಹುದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಹೊರ ರಾಜ್ಯದಿಂದ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು ಬಂದಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡಗಿಂತ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. So we'll have this conversation completely in this talk completely in English, right? So first things first, how many of you have a basic idea of what civil services are more popularly known as Ias exam? How many of you know what this exam is, what this exam contains, that is in the form of exam formats, syllabus, and after you clear this exam, what are the positions that you are going to hold? Do any of you have any idea? Yeah, please. What do you know? Basic, whatever you know, you can please feel free, and don't think that okay, ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರು ತಪ್ಪು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Yeah, please feel free.
So good morning everyone. I thank you sir for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah.
I basically know about the UPSC examination.
Okay.
So it is divided into 3 parts.
Excellent.
Prelims, mains, and then final
Interview, yes.
Then in prelims you have basically general knowledge questions.
Okay.
History, geography, all the subjects included, and MCQ pattern.
Correct.
Then in the mains there is a competitive essay writing where basic questions related to general awareness, and you have to select your own subject.
Correct.
Out of the given list, and finally you have a prelims test where your personality is tested by the reviewers.
Fine. I think she's got it completely right. Yeah, actually we were having a conversation with the principal. ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ತಟ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕೂತಿರೋರು ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ ತಟ್ತಾರೆ, ಖುಷಿ ಪಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಹೊಸ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಯ್ತು. Right. So actually I was talking to madam. I was telling probably 5-6 years back or around 12 years back, way back in 2009 and 2010 when I started thinking of getting into civil services when I was in my final year engineering degree, right? Hardly any people, very few people knew what these competitive exams are, right? And hardly people had awareness, or there were any institutes in Bangalore, so the awareness was very, very less. In fact, in South India itself, the awareness was very, very less. But now the situation has greatly improved. Of course, today you have mobile phones and internet facilities and YouTube, and there are many websites which has n number of there are n number of websites giving you the complete information about civil services. So today people have much better awareness. Not only I think people, like most of you here are in undergraduation and post graduation, but then there are people who are yet to complete PUC or 12th standard, and they also have complete awareness of what UPSC is. So today there is a huge improvement in with respect to awareness among these competitive exams. Right. Now let us go into the main agenda of today's session. That is, what are the opportunities that you have apart from the private sector and other sectors? What opportunities you have in government sector? Right. That too, specifically we will start off with UPSC. So we will learn today what is UPSC, what the exam is, what are the various terms and conditions for who is eligible, what are there in these different stages of exam, what you have to study, what are the challenges, what are the basic process that gets involved in this exam, and then we will also know what is there in the 3 stages, as she rightly put: preliminary stage, mains stage, and the personality test or interview stage. And we will also talk about what kind of positions you hold after clearing the exam, the kind of power that positions hold, and the various n number of opportunities that you will get to truly contribute to the society and make an impact right from the grassroots level. Right. So that is what we are going to talk. So let's start with the slide that you can see on the screen. The question here is, what after graduation or post graduation? Right. I'm sure most of you will be thinking like how I was thinking. The moment you get into second year, third year, you will start thinking, what next? Should I pursue post graduation? Should I, try and get into jobs in the private sector, or should I go for master degrees abroad or in India, right? Or should I get into there are n number of opportunities today, right? Let's face the reality. Probably there is a small decline because of this COVID issue. Otherwise, Bangalore and Karnataka provides a lot of opportunities, no doubt regarding that. And you all know Bangalore is considered to be the startup hub, right? The startup capital of India and the Silicon City. So you have opportunities in all the fields, from engineering to medicine to basic sciences to commerce background, you name it, you have opportunities here. But then you also have one another excellent career opportunity, that is getting into civil services, taking up competitive exams. Now in South India, since you have this private sector developed at a very fast rate and it is very well established, people in South, when compared to the northern states of Haryana, UP, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, right, Bengal, Gujarat, Rajasthan, when compared to not Gujarat, the other states, right? Your private sector is not so well developed. So people, right from their graduation or even from their 11th and 12th, they will be thinking towards the government sector. Right. But here, since we have a totally different development here and we have a totally different ecology here, people do not look into civil services. This has wonderful opportunities. So we will see what all are there in these competitive exams. Now, the various competitive exams, it is, I just mentioned one exam, that is civil services or Ias exam, but at the same time, we have something called as Ias stands for Indian Administrative Services. I'm sure you all know about that. Similarly, at the state level, there is something called Administrative Services. That is the exam that I have cleared and I have entered the services. Then you also have Indian Engineering Service, of course, that is only restricted to engineers. Then you have SSC, Staff Selection Commission, that also has wonderful opportunities. Then you have banking exams and other exams like police sub inspector, right? FDA first division assistant, and then you have exams to get into intelligence bureau that will Manjunath will be talking about that, right? And then there are exams which RBI conducts, that is at the managerial level, grade B exam and the clerical level exams. So all these exams gives you wonderful opportunities to work in various fields. So we will look into each one of them and what it holds. Now I'm sure you can recognize from which particular movie this photo is from. At least Karnataka film nodidira. Yeah, Prithvi film ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Right, Prithvi film ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಪುನೀತ್ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್. IAS, but what position does he hold? DC. DC full form है. District collector, Telangana state collector, deputy commissioner, different names, but it's the same thing, right? So what does the DC do? In job DC, district administration, correct? But then district administration, what all things gets involved? What are the things that gets involved in the district administration? Each and everything that you can think of with regard to roads, water supply, law and order, education, social, food, civil supplies, that is, ration being getting distributed, right? And then social welfare aspects like schools, free education, right? Or hostels, you name it, everything will come under DC's power. So that is why a district collector, an IAS officer, plays a very, very crucial role. In fact, bureaucracy is considered to be the of a particular country because they act as the backbone. Whatever you can think of, you're coming on the roads, there are how these roads are made, where, what planning should take place, you have the administrators playing a role. This, in education policy, how it should be planned, what should be the degree courses, how it should be, you have administrators playing a role. In this movie, Puneet Rajkumar has his famous dialogue. ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಪವರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ನಂದೊಂದು ಸೈನ್ ಸಾಕು ಅಂತ. So that is the power responsibility that position holds. Right? An entire district will be under your control. An entire district. As you proceed in your career, as you get promotions, you become senior officers, right? And at the end, you finish as chief secretary. That is, an entire state will be, the administrative setup will be under your control. Right? So that is the power this particular position holds. Right? So if you know the weight and gravity of it, I'm sure most of you will start thinking about getting into these exams. Right? So it does play a very important role. But then, see, most people call this exam as IAS exams. But the exams are actually called as civil services exams. And it is conducted by a body called as UPSC, Union Public Service Commission. That is the body which conducts the exam. UPSC. And the exam is civil services. But since IAS is one among the many services and being the topmost service, people call it as IAS exam. Right? And we call it as pinnacle of all competitive exams because you're literally studying anything and everything above this earth and below the blue sky, and anything and everything beyond the blue sky and beneath this earth. So you are covering all of these things, and once you prepare for this exam, you are in a position to clear all the other exams. So that is why it is considered as the pinnacle of competitive exams. And on the screen, you can also see one more line. It is regarded as the mother of all exams. Why is it called as mother of all exams? Because it contains everything, every aspect, every subject. You name it: history, geography, economy. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್. ಹಾಗೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನ. ಈ ನಾಗರಿಕ ಸೇವಾ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಓದಬೇಕು, ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಸೇವೆಗಳನ್ನ, ಹುದ್ದೆಗಳನ್ನ ಅಲಂಕರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Thank you. Yeah, so this is considered as mother of all exams because it has all the subjects. I'm sure some of you are from the science background here, and some of you are from the commerce management background, right? All these aspects and these subjects from all these will be a part of this exam. And at the same time, you are studying history, you are studying geography, you are studying economy, you are studying math related, that is in the form of aptitude, reasoning, these things you will be studying. So, since you are studying literally anything and everything, and it kind of encompasses all the subjects, it is considered as the mother of all exams. Right? A very one of the most prestigious prestigious positions, and the pinnacle of this particular country, and one of the most competitive exams. Right? Now, why should you consider this kind of career? I'm sure here being people, students from commerce background, management, you can get into private sectors, or from the life sciences, you can think about getting into becoming scientists or into research work, or probably think of career in teaching. Yes, there are opportunities, but why civil services? Why IAS? Because as I already told you, when you become a district commissioner, DC of a particular district, or an SP of a particular district, or you get into the taxation systems, wherein again you go on to become DCs even there as well. So whichever field you get into, whichever sector you get into, each one has its own challenges, and every day you come across new challenges, and you grow as an individual. Right? It is not that you come and do the exact same work every day. You come across new people, you come across public every day, you have an interaction with them. So you have to be on your toes every single day. Right? So that kind of challenge will keep you motivated, and it will help you grow as an individual in the long run. Right? So that is why it makes this particular career path one of the most interesting ones in India. That is why you have students across India in lakhs competing for this particular positions. And of course, it is safe and secure, as ma'am rightly said at the start. Earlier, they used to ask before, at the time of searching for a bride or a groom, right? They used to ask whether the bride or the groom, or more cases it is the groom, whether he is in the government sector, because it is one of the most secure jobs, and then you are protected by the constitution itself. Article 311, 312, say, with that you are completely protected. And even if you have to be removed, the signature has to come from the president himself. Right? So that is the kind of safety and guarantee that you have in these kind of jobs. Right? And people to people contact is, I think, no other job can provide you that. Right? That kind of interaction you have. And as I told you, a DC, if a DC works properly, he can ensure that an entire district can be hunger free. Right? All the people, all the children can get proper education. If you have an efficient DC, you can ensure all you have the best of the roads in the district. So even the last mile connectivity, the last person can be reached by being in this particular position. So you can bring about a genuine change, a permanent change, a genuine change at the grassroots. And I'm sure no other jobs can provide you this opportunity. Probably, see, in a private sector, yes, you will work in a private sector, you will earn, you will contribute. Probably in your weekends, you will go and work in NGOs. You will be able to contribute there as well. I'm not saying you cannot contribute that way, but then by being in this position, you have a larger canvas to draw a bigger and more beautiful picture. That is the difference between getting into civil services and other, career opportunities, right? And if you are preparing for this exam, that is one UPSC civil services exam, you are pretty much prepared for all the other competitive exams that we are going to talk about and tell you the details next. Now, as I told you, there are 24 services in this particular exam. This is one exam, civil services, but then there are 24 services. In this, the topmost or most preferred is IAS. Hence, people call this as IAS exam. In this, you have Indian Administrative Services, Indian Foreign Service, Indian Police Service, Indian Audit and Account Service, and not many people know this. Indian Audit and Account Service. I'm sure many years back, I don't know if you're probably still in school, ಈ 2G ಹಗರಣ 3G ಹಗರಣ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ಪಟ್ಟು ಬಂತು, ರೈಟ್? ಮಿಸ್ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಅಂತದೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳ್ಪಟ್ಟು ಬಂತು. ಅಥವಾ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಬೇರೆ it is this department which steps in. They conduct the auditing and accounting works, and they are the ones which tell you what has happened or what has not happened. It is this department, very powerful department. And you have Indian Revenue Services. Indian Revenue Services, GST and Customs, right? Now, one object you want to any certain things you want to import, right? It has to undergo customs clearance at the airport or at the shipyard. So who will be looking after all of these things? It is this Indian Revenue Services. And any product you buy today will have GST component. You go to a hotel, you will have GST component in the bill. All that is administered by this particular group. So even if an officer will have around 20,000 establishments under his control, under his watch, and as you proceed and as you get promotions and move up the order, an entire district's taxation will come under your control. Everything, right from a factory to a shop to a restaurant, you name it, the taxation part is controlled by that officer, right? We will have, and he or she will have enormous powers to manage all of these things and keep a watch, because if they collect tax properly, then only you can think of development of this country, because finance is the crucial part of any country. So if the finances taxation system has to be held. They are controlling that. The same way, you have another service called as IRS IT, income tax, the ones which look after the income tax part, right? Similarly, you have Indian Postal Service, right? Indian Defense Auditing Service, Indian Railway Service, Indian Civil Account Service, right? And within Railway Service, you have Railway Administrative Service, Railway Traffic Control Service, Railway Protection Services, right? And then you have Indian Information Service, that is all this RTI and other things will be taken care by this particular department. And then you have Union Territory Services, that is Pondicherry and other services. Within Pondicherry and Union Territory Services, you have Police Service and Administrative Services separate. So you have around 24 different services that you can get into, but the examination is one. Along with that, now you have the preliminary first round, you have common exams for Indian Forest Service as well. An entire district, all the forest and related aspects will be controlled by that officer. So each and every position here that you see on the screen comes with enormous responsibilities, powers and recognitions within the state, right, within the society. So that is the kind of importance that these jobs have, right? Even an MNC company, if anything has to be, if anything goes wrong, they'll have to come to these offices, right? An MNC company might be thousands of crores worth. They might have branches across the world, but if there is an issue, they have to come to these officers, and these officers are the ones who are going to solve this any kind of issues. So the importance is enormous, and the kind of opportunity get to mingle with the best minds of this country, the best people, can be seen here in this photo, right? He's an IPS officer, if I'm not wrong, from the 2011 batch, and the best IPS officer trainee cadet will be given a sword of honor, so the best cadet, and that will be presented by the Home Minister, or in other services you have the Prime Ministers and Presidents coming and addressing you, and you'll have direct interaction with such kind of people, and you can sky is the limit in these kind of jobs, right? And imagine being presented Home Minister of this country itself. How many people will get such an opportunity? Right? Not many. Then who can take up this exam? Right? Now, depending on the categories, you have different number of attempts. This is how it is, right? So the general category students can attempt this exam up till the age of 32, and they have 6 attempts, right? Similarly, other backward class OBC students will be, they can take up the exam up till the age of 35, from 21, that is, right, from 21, and you should have a valid degree from a recognized university. Then those kind of people will become eligible to take up this exam, and this exam does not require you to have 80%, 70%, 60%, right? Anybody can take up this exam, and at the end I will say why they have put it across this way, saying that basic minimum marks at the end. You have to have a degree, right, from a valid university. That is all the requirement is. Should be 21 years, you should have a degree in your hand, or those who have written the final year exams, right, they can also apply and attempt this exam. Though you have finished your exam, the results are yet to come, the degree certificate is yet to come, you can attempt. Then SC and ST categories will have 30, they can attempt this exam up till the age of 37, and they can have n number of limited attempts till the age of 37. There is no limitations with regard to attempts. Similarly, physically disabled up till the age of 42, J&K domicile up till the age of 37, disabled serviceman discharged from duty up till the age of 35, ex-serviceman 5 years duty, that is conditions as per mentioned notification up to the age of 37. So this way, different group of people will have different cutoff age and the number of attempts, right? So either you reach the age 32, 35, 37, or the number of attempts 6, 9, whatever you reach, there the number of your attempt ends. You can't go further beyond that, right? So you have, this is the eligibility criteria. Then what are the stages? There are 3 stages in this particular exam. You have preliminary examination, mains examination, and you have interview, or as they call it as personality guidance, because there is a difference between interview and personality. Personality guidance is wherein they're checking your personality. They're not really worried about your knowledge, right? They are worried more about your personality, because this kind of services requires certain kind of personality, right? So these are the 3 stages. Usually, right, this need not be the case, but usually, because of the last 2 years, because of COVID, this cycle has been changed. But then every year in the month of February, you have notification being called, saying that those who are interested, please apply for this examination. And usually they give you around 25 days or 1 month's time to apply for the exams. Or of late, they have reduced it to 25 to 20 to 25 days. Right? If the notification is in the month of February, then the first round of the exam, that is prelims, will be held in the month of June. This year, it is usually in the last Sunday of May or first Sunday of June is the first round of exams, that is prelims. Right? So this year, it is on June 5th. Right? So June 5th is the prelims examination. The notification has already come, and the last date to apply is also over. Since we are already in month of March, it's done. Right? So prelims is in June. Then once you write the prelims examination in June, roughly around 30 days, you will have the results being announced. Right? So from this June, you have by July first week, you have the results coming out, and in the month of October or the last week of September, you will have the mains examination. Then this results, the exam September, by the end of December or early January, you will have the results of mains examination being announced, and from January, with a gap of around 15-20 days, the final round starts. In each of these rounds, what are the papers and what are the syllabus, what to expect, we will see that later. But this is the general cycle. Then the final result will be announced in the month of March. Right? Usually 4 to 5 days after the last interview date it is over, the last person gets interviewed. From that, within 4 days, usually you will have the results being announced. This is the general cycle of the exam, and this happens yearly. Right? This is not an exam where it will be conducted twice a year. This is an exam. This is. So this is a exam which will be conducted once a year. The cycle is once a year, right? Unlike other exams which will be conducted 2 times a year, this is not the case. Only once a year. Now prelims, right? The first round, as she rightly said, there are 2 papers here, right? The 2 papers. The first paper we usually call it as general studies paper. Why we call it as general studies paper? Because it has all the kind of subjects that you can literally think of. That is, you have history, and within history, you have to study ancient Indian history, modern, medieval Indian history, modern Indian history, that is freedom struggle, and then after we got independence, what are the major events that has occurred in this country? You'll have to study about that. If you are studying, there is geography where you'll be studying about the physical geography, Indian geography, world geography, all aspects regarding the geography, that is from rivers to soils to plants, animals, mountain ranges, right? Monsoons, climatic conditions, oceanography, all of these things will be there in geography. And then economics, principles of economy, right? Our budget, how budget gets formed and what are the various programs the government announces, why they take up those programs for the welfare of the society and welfare of the people, right? We study in economy. Then you have things, you have something called as polity, Indian polity or political science, something that you would have heard, wherein we study about the constitution, why you have various articles, why you have this constitution being framed in a particular manner, what was the necessity to have a constitution, right? What are the protection that people have within this constitution? So you have all these subjects. Apart from this, you also have subjects like science and technology. You name it, the latest genetic technology to the latest missile technology to the latest rockets that are being launched, satellites that are being launched. Of course, you don't go in and study it as a scientist, but then as the word says, it is a general studies paper. So as a layman, as a common person, how would you understand all of these things? Because they very well know that a person coming from commerce background, a person coming from humanities, arts background will have to attempt science questions. A person who is coming from science background will have to attempt social sciences subjects questions. So you have to have a basic knowledge. That is why the term general studies. It is not, as you're not doing research in all of these subjects. So it is something that anybody and everybody can learn and attempt this particular exam. It is only the desire whether you want to get into these services or not. That is all that matters here. So there are 2 papers. One is this general studies paper, and the other is something called as CSAT, Civil Services Aptitude Test, which will have comprehension, aptitude, logical reasoning, right? All of these things. I'm sure you would have come across these kind of questions already. Comprehension is something that we are all familiar with. Along with that, things like speed and distance time, work and time, those kind of questions, right? So something that you would have all are familiar, and it is more of common sense than of actually something that you would have read in school, colleges. You don't pick it up from books. It's more of common sense. So these 2 papers are there, and these 2 papers, each paper will have paper 1 will have 100 questions, 200 marks. That is, each question is for 200 marks. Then you have paper 2, that is the CSAT, you have 80 questions, but still it is for 200 marks. That is 2.5 marks per question. The paper 2 is only for qualifying, whereas paper 1 is where you get, whether you go to the next stage or not is decided by this paper 1 score. Right. So this is the preliminary examination, as she rightly pointed out. All these questions will be multiple choice questions. That is, question and 4 options. You will have to mark the right answer in the OMR. Now, if you clear this particular round, then you go on to the second round, that is mains round, where all papers are subjective in nature. Right? That is, you have to write answers, right? Essay type answers, 2 pages, 3 pages, or there is something called as essay where you will be writing pages together. Right? So the second round is subjective in nature. First round is objective in nature. Right? So the second round, mains examination, you have 7 plus 2, 9 papers totally. Right? So this general studies, what we saw in prelims, the first one, the same thing will be divided into general studies 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So general studies 1 only history, geography, social sciences, right? Society. Okay. The second general studies 2 will have polity, international relations. Right? For example, you have very interesting. It's all analysis. It is not something that it is ella by heart part. You memorize, you go and write. No, it's all about analysis. Right? Now, I'm sure if I ask you this question, right? Now Ukraine war is going on. I'm sure you all have read about it, seen it in news, or you would have come across in your WhatsApp, messages, correct? And you would have also come across messages like, should India vote for or against Russia? That is something that debate, right? Now, I'm sure each one of you have opinion. You should vote against Russia or you should vote for Russia. Right? I'm sure each one, if I go on asking each one of you, you will all have your opinions. And you can have your own opinion. UPSC does not stop you from having your opinion. But then you'll have to put across why you have that opinion in the best possible manner. Now, has India voted? What has India done?
Neutral.
Great, and most of you are prompt, you're telling the answer. So we have taken a neutral position. There is a reason for taking neutral position as well, right? Country topmost administrators at the highest level, sumne bani ಒಂದು neutral position ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಅಂತ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ, right? They think they will see what are the permutations and combinations, what are the repercussions of going either ways, and what are the advantages of taking a neutral position. They look at all these aspects and then they take a position, right? But then you have to have an opinion, but then the opinion that gets formed should have a strong backing of reasoning. So UPSC is looking at that aspect. So paper 2 nali we study about international relations. You study about constitutions, right? I'm sure you would have also seen, Jammu and Kashmir, we have removed the 370, the special status that we had. The question can be whether such a special status ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ advantage or disadvantage. So it's all about opinion based, analysis based questions that you will get. Just blindly, they not ask you to write all the articles or memory based questions. You will hardly have any such kind of questions. They want you to think, because tomorrow when you're sitting in these positions, you should think and you should take a decision, right? Of course, memory based why will they need officers? They can buy an external hard disk of 1 TB, 2 TB, record everything there and keep it. They don't need human beings to memorize. Today you don't have to memorize anything, right? You don't have to keep everything in mind. You have a phone, right? Actually, just before we came in here, madam was talking about how you should have the curiosity, because you have the phone in there, right? All you don't, if you want to know about UPSC, just go to Google and type what is Ias exam. You will have n number of websites giving you a complete detail. You go to YouTube, type what is IAS exam, you will have IAS officers themselves coming and explaining what this exam is. So information is there all around us. You don't have to memorize that. Your phone can keep that, do that work for you. But using this data, how will you take a decision? That is where human beings will come into picture. That is where these officers will come into picture. Using this, what is the best decision that you can take? So whether you are the right person who can take the best decision will be seen in these answers. And these are all lengthy answers, 2 pages, 3 pages, or essay paper anta ide. Right? You can see here, essay 250 marks. You will have to write approximately around, you will have 2 essays, 125 marks each. You will have to write around 11, 12 pages. Now you might ask, what is the necessary for us to write so many pages? Because each of these papers in general studies 1, 2, 3, 4, 250 marks, 250 marks, and say that it is all you'll have 3 hours for each of these papers, and then you will end up writing on an average 30 to 35 pages in 3 hours. That is on an average, no matter how your handwriting is, on an average you will be writing 90 to 100 words. Let us take you're writing 100 words in one page, and let us say you're writing 30 pages. So in 3 hours, you are writing 3000 words. That is the speed. But then you might ask, why should we write? Everything is there in the phone and everything is there, the data. But tomorrow, when you become officers, either IAS or IPS, or you become a taxman, tax administrator, like the position I'm holding, you have to write reports saying that why I should, this particular institution, this particular establishment, this particular hotels, they have to pay tax, they have evaded, and I have to give a neat explanation. If that explanation is not right, your judgment will not stand in the court of law. You fail, right? So you have to have good writing skills. It is necessity, right? Absolute necessity. Even you become an IPS officer, I'm sure you would have come across many tough cases being solved, right? And then at the end, if that person has to be convicted, then how you have, the whatever investigations that you have made, whatever truth you have found out, how are you putting it on paper, right? That is very, very important. That is why you have this round where you have to write. So general studies 3 will have environment, economy, environment and ecology, economy, science and technology, all these related aspects. Questions will be asked in general studies 3. And in general studies 4, there is a very interesting paper which is called as ethics and integrity paper. Here you don't have to actually read. You can directly go and write the exam. You have questions like situation based question. Let us suppose, consider that you are a DC of a district, right? And you have floods, everything is washed away, and you have few people coming in and asking for help, right? Either it can be food, medicines, whatever. Your supplies are yet to come from outside district, right? Everything is locked, you have only very little resource. On one side you will have a powerful person, politically powerful person. There people will come and they say that give us all the resources. And at the same time, there are much more needy people, poor people. They are also asking for resource. For time being, you have only limited resource. As an officer, what decision will you take now? Right. So this kind of decisions should be made. So this kind of, for this you don't have to actually read, or you need not have knowledge of some book or some subject. This is common sense based questions, right? Or at the same time, they might ask you questions like, according to you, what are the 2 major qualities an officer should have? So this kind of questions are there in general studies 4. So you have total of essay, 1 paper, and 4 general studies papers. So you have 5 papers. Along with that, you have 2 papers from one subject that you have to choose. UPSC provides roughly around 30 to 35 subjects, all subjects from management subject to sociology, history, geography, anthropology, literature, all kinds of literature, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi, right? All these literature subjects, then you have science subjects, physics, chemistry, biology, and you have engineering subjects like civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and you have mathematics. So you have around 30 to 35 subjects, and you have to choose one. And irrespective of what degree you have, you can choose whatever subject you feel like studying. For example, in my case, right, I'm an engineer, electronics and communication engineer, but then I have chosen anthropology. In fact, I teach anthropology. Anthropology is what? Have you heard of the subject? What does it deal with? You study of human beings, right? In that you study about society, family, marriage system, economic system, political systems, right? You study about tribal societies, primitive societies, and at the same time you study about genetics, right? Human biology, human evolution, all of these things. That has nothing to do with electronics and communication, right? I have chosen solely because I have, I was, interested in it. In fact, that subject was introduced to me by another IPS officer. I'm sure at least some of you would have heard of Anujet's name. He was the one who said there is a subject, right? So I went through the subject. I was so fascinated. I was so interested. I picked up that subject and I went on to teach also. Right? I teach that subject. Engineering ಅಲ್ಲಿ anthropology ಸಂಬಂಧನೇ actually I'm teaching that subject. So that is the opportunity that you get. See, you might be from commerce background, but you want to study geography. If you are interested in studying history, if you are interested in studying Kannada literature, you can pick that. So from that one subject, you have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2, each carrying 250 marks. So totally, how many papers are over? 7 papers. Now, depending on the marks, how much you get in these 7 papers, you'll whether you go on to the next round or not gets decided. Right. Along with that, you have something called as qualifying papers. That is English, and along with English, you can choose any Indian language. And this is only for qualifying purpose. That is roughly around 35% marks. Right. You have to get that. If you get 35, if you are clearing that, then you are qualified. But whether you will go to the next round or not, whether you are clearing that cutoff or not, is decided by these papers. Right. Total for 1750 marks. Right. Then the next round is personality test. Right. Personality test, a very important round as well. Right. Now this particular, I said that each of these papers have a syllabus being defined in a very broad manner. What is the syllabus for personality test? There is no syllabus at all. Then what kind of questions they will ask? They can ask you anything. Because before you enter this personality test round, or when the moment you get selected, there is something called as detailed application form that you have to fill. Right. So detailed application form wherein you give all the details, right, from birth date to place of birth to parents' name, where you are residing, birthplace of your parents, father, mother, what kind of occupation they are into, what is your educational qualification, which school you have studied in, which intermediate you have studied in, that is UC or 11th and 12th, and where you have done your degree, which is your degree subjects, all these things, your hobbies, interests, if you have won anything at your school or college level, state level or national level, you have to mention that. So you mention all of these things in this detailed application form, right? So the question can come from any of these things. It can come from something that is current issues. What do you think about Russia and Ukraine war? Is Russia right in waging a war, or do you think Russia is wrong? From that kind of questions to any kind of questions, right? Basically, they are testing your awareness and personality. Why? Because this kind of post that you are going to hold, it is not going to be a very smooth kind of position where everything is smooth and hunky-dory, right? You will have your own challenges. For example, when you occupy the position of DC or an SP, an IPS officer, police officer, hundreds of people will come in front of your office and demand for something. How will you keep the crowd, in a controlled manner? How will you address their problems and ensure that they go back peacefully? If you don't answer them properly or if they're not satisfied, easily that crowd can become unruly. The Galata can start, they can start pelting stones, right? Anything and everything can happen. So how are you going to manage yourself? What kind of personality you have? That is what they are testing here. And at the same time, as an officer, to solve kind of these issues, you have to have, a complete awareness about in and around you. Right? Only when you have that ability to capture everything in and around you, you will become a good officer. Right? There are wonderful questions that gets asked in interview. You will be surprised how questions get spawned. And friend of Snake, like I'm not going to name him because he's an officer, right? So they asked him, okay, so you're from Bangalore, right? Or rather, the first question is, oh, you've come to Delhi. What have you seen in Delhi? Now, immediately the fear will start, because if you say that I have seen India Gate, I have seen Parliament House, I have seen President House, and there, immediately what will be the next question? Okay, who built the Parliament House? And literally, because see, I was the college captain, football team captain, because I have played professional football. I have played for clubs. I was the school captain. I was the college captain. So football at the level. The CBSE South Zone, South India, we were the champions, right? Under 16, 11, we were in school, 10th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard. So we were the champions, right? So I had mentioned all of that. You know what they asked? World Cup. Have you seen it? Yes, sir, I have seen. Describe how World Cup looks like. So I knew that how it. Then he asked me, do you know who designed the World Cup? Like I knew how World Cup looks like, but I never thought from this angle that who designed the World Cup. I have played football all my life, but never in all these, 25 years, I've never 25, 28 years when I was giving interview back then. I never thought about who would have designed this World Cup. There must have been someone who would have designed this, right? And they asked me one more thing. Every year in World Cup, every World Cup, the football that gets used, it will have a name. They asked me the name of that football, right? South Africa World Cup host model. What was the name of the football? That was the question, right? And then in another exam, I had actually also cleared assistant commandant exam. I was selected for border security forces. I did not take up that job. So in that interview, that asked me, "Do you know Maradona?" I said, "Yes, sir." Right? Do you know why is he famous for? Right? There were 5 people parallelly. I knew everybody knows that answer and everybody had interest, because the moment that person asked, "Do you know Maradona? Why is he famous?" Everybody sat straight. And everybody were curious. I said, because he's a very good player, he tackles well, he dribbles well. Everybody were like, no, 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 why is he famous for? I said, hand of God. Then they asked me, what is hand of God? Which World Cup that incident took place? Who are the opponents? Tell me how it happened. Similarly, my friend who is an officer today, right, in an important district, he was asked, have you come, have you seen anything in Delhi? Now, how do you escape that? He said, no, sir, I came yesterday. After the interview, I'll go and see Delhi. Right? ಭಯ ಶುರು ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಏನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೋ ಅಂತ. Then they asked, no, no, man, you must have seen something. Come on, tell us what you have seen. No, sir, I will see after this interview. No, no, tell me, I'm sure you would have seen something. It repeat after the finally my friend had no other option. He said India Gate. Then he's already scared, he's nervous. Then they asked, why was India Gate built? Then immediately he's so scared. Like, I think, sir, for Kargil, what for Kargil war India Gate built ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. Then no, 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 sir. World War. Actually, that interview was the chairperson of that panel that day was Vice Admiral, and the Navy second highest most position. Vice Admiral D.K. Diwan was the chairperson of that board, because you can see on the screen 1 plus 4 members will be on the panel board. That is 1 member. Along with that, there will be 4 other members. That one chairperson is the member of UPSC. The other 4 people, you don't know who they are. They can be Bangaloreans, Kannadigas, as a Bangalore University professor, or as a vice chancellor, anybody, right? There can be anyone or retired bureaucrats. You will not know them. They can be in your area only. They will be living in your area, but you not know. So that was the question. He's so scared. And a vice admiral hearing India Gate being built for Kargil, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಈಗ 20 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಗೇಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಾ ಅಂತ. Right? So no, sir, World War and all that he answered. Then the next question. Okay, in your address, you have said you stay in Banchankri. Have you seen Lal Bagh? Obviously, Banchankri is saying, the other one more member is asking a question. Hey, Banchankri, your house is in Banchankri. Yes, sir. It's close to Lal Bagh, right? He has to say yes, because if that person is saying it's close to Lal Bagh, and that person knows Bangalore. Then, have you been to Lal Bagh? If he says yes, then the next question would be on Lal Bagh. I don't know what the question is. Right? So he said, yes, sir, but many years ago. Right? Now, how will you justify this? He said, hey, you have been to Lal Bagh, right? Yes, sir. In Lal Bagh, there is one statue. Right? Can you name what statue? Can you tell me what statue is there inside Lal Bagh? He said, sorry, sir, I'm not able to remember, not able to recall. Hey, come on, man. I'm sure you would have gone inside, you would have seen that statue. Try to recall. Sorry, sir, I'm not able to recall. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Your surname and the person's statues, that person's name, surname is the same. That was the clue. He said, I'm sorry, sir, I don't know. Then the answer was Marigoda. Marigoda is considered as the father of Indian horticulture. Right? His statue is there inside. So that means how aware you are about what is happening in and around you. Right? So that was the question. Right? So that kind of question gets asked in personality test. So they are checking your personality. What kind of individual you are is being checked here. So this is the final round, right? So this is another photo that the moment you become an officer, I don't know, there's not much clarity. Probably sitting at the back, it is Pranab Mukherjee, the late Pranab Mukherjee, the former president. So you get to meet the president, and there will be a photo session this way in the president hall. How many of us can actually dream to go into president hall and then meet the president personally? And that is the kind of opportunities all these services give you. Right? Now coming to the competition part. How many people take up this exam? What are the challenges that one faces in this particular exam? There are roughly around 5 lakh, there are roughly around 6 to 7 lakh people writing this exam. Of course, when the notification is called for, the number of people who apply will be more, 11 to 12 lakh applications, but those who actually take up, who will come and write the exam, the first round, that is preliminary examination, both the papers, is roughly around 6 lakh people. Right? How many people will qualify from prelims to mains? Roughly around 12 times the number of vacancies. And then all these 24 services put together, let's assume that there are 1,000 posts. Right? Example, there are 1,000 posts. 1,000 into 12, roughly around 12,000 will get selected to the mains round. So from 6 lakh to 7 lakh, or around 5 lakh to 6 lakh, whatever the number is who are writing prelims, from 6 lakh, how many get selected to the next round? 12,000. So where is 6 lakhs and where is 12,000? So that is the competition. Right? So roughly around, you can say around 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 are range, or if the seats are less, 10,000, 9,000 will get selected for the second round. Now, from the second round, from mains, how many will get selected to the final stage, that is interview or personality? The number of vacancies into 2. Earlier it was 2.5 times. Now it is changed, right? It is 2 times. That is, if there are 1,000 people, then number of 1,000 vacancies, seats available that year, then the number of people who will get selected for interview is 2,000. Right? So that is the difference, that is the number who get selected. Finally, your mains marks, out of 1,750, how many marks that you have got, and how many marks you will get in interview, right? Interview is for 275 marks. So how much you will get in interview, both clubbed together, the final list will be announced, right? So this is how the competition is. Of course, challenges at the Bandaga, you have just seen the number of people competing and number of people finally getting into the service. It is the competition. The race starts with around 6 lakh people. The race ends around 1,000 people, right? So you do the math, do the basic math. What is the pass percentage? So competition is going to be very high. Of course, the position that you're going to go and occupy, it's also unbelievable, right? The kind of powers that you have, the kind of respect and prestige that you have, that positions hold, is also very, very high. That is the highest level that you can get into the government services, these services, right? So for that, automatically there will be competition. You have to work a lot. Perseverance becomes the key because again, your marks in degree does not matter, right? Because the race is starting afresh. Whether you are gold medalist in your degree or you have just passed in degree with 40-45% does not matter because the race is
What happened is
starting fresh now. Who is going to win this race? Those
discussing
who
current
have
game,
that
not
burning
just about
desire,
no.
that fire inside them,
I
right?
do this.
Whoever wants to win this
Coming to
race,
college,
they
the
will win.
road
Why
please
I say
get
this
me
is
the
because
laptop. I
I
did
have
not
another
get it.
friend,
So I
who's
came
in
here.
service today. We both gave exams for this assistant commandant. Both got selected. He got selected into
About
CRPF.
your current, yeah.
Security forces. The
I
same
don't know what
year,
is that
we
current.
both
Current was
finished
there.
the civil services exam, which
Whether
I
it is
just
UPS
explained.
trainer or what, how can I know?
Same year, we both went up to interview. So interview in Delhi back then, in Karnataka Sangha, Delhi Karnataka Sangha, they used to conduct free mock
It is
interview.
not connected.
Back then, officers like Kedar sir, our former chief secretary Vijay Bhaskar sir, when they were all in Delhi, they used to conduct these coachings for free, right? So when we had gone to this Delhi Karnataka Sangha, the officers from Karnataka, they saw his detailed application form, mock interview ready there.
What's
And
the map?
that officer lady, she was surprised. She asked, "No, after 10th, you've not gone to college at all. Why? What happened? Were you not interested in studies?" So he said, "See, we come from such poor background, right? When filling our stomach becomes first priority, all the other things will take backseat. That person comes from such humble
But
background
you are not
because of so much of
not
poverty.
getting
Immediately
convinced
after 10th,
what to do.
the
I went
postal
here.
department clerk the stamp ಹೊಡೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ probably would have seen these postal offices. Right after 10th, we can get
I know
selected
that
for
by
those
that
jobs.
time I reached.
So he got selected for the
So I
job
was not able to take.
on his own. Right, on his own,
That was
he
called, but that time I was
studied
attending
UC
the same webinar.
correspondence,
That
cleared
was
the exam. On his own, he studied degree correspondence, cleared the exam. Then he went on to clear civil services as well. Today he is deputy commissioner in IRS, right? Indian Revenue Services, GST and Customs. He is a deputy commissioner. So coming from such background where you don't even have basic amount to go to college. So students from such backgrounds come and clear this exam. At the same time, you name it, IIT, IIMs, the topmost colleges, people from those colleges also come and clear this exam. So what I'm trying to say is everybody has an equal opportunity here. Right? You need not think that okay, I was not good in 10th standard, I was not good in my degree, right? Probably I don't have the capacity to clear this exam. So don't have even a iota of doubt. Anybody and everybody can clear this exam, right? All that matters is whether you have fire inside you, whether you have the strong belief that I can clear this exam, whether you have that or not, right? So this is regarding the exam, right?
what?
There are many opportunities. We'll not go to the next slide. That is regarding
Mode
scenario of
IDT.
how the coaching centers are. We will not go into that aspect. So this is regarding UPSC. If you prepare for this UPSC exam, civil services exam, IAS exams at your state level, which also provides, because see, your civil services, yes, you become direct IAS, but at the same time you clear case as well, you get promoted as IAS within roughly around 10 years. So that those kind of jobs are also group A services at the highest level. Not many people know this. So if you prepare for UPSC, right, all the other exams which my friend Manjunath is going to talk about, all the other exams will become relatively easier. Relatively easier. Competition illa antalla, competition is there everywhere, but relatively it becomes easier. So he's going to throw light on all the other exams. Right? Quickly you will go through all the exams and you will get an idea of what other exams are there. Right? So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much. Start that they are thinking of starting a competitive cell. It's a great vision. Please make the best use of it, because today's world, earlier, after completing the degree, people used to start preparing for civil services. But today, since the competition is very high, it is important that you start at your degree level itself. And if you are exam ready in your final year, after that you can study and then clear the exam. If you crack the exam before 25, before you turn 25, right? Before you turn 25, if you're able to crack this exam, then you will have around 35 years of government service. You can go on to occupy the best positions in the government, and you will end up as chief secretaries and DGPs at the highest level for years together. For example, our last chief secretary, Vijay Bhaskar sir, was the chief secretary for 3 years. Who will have the opportunity of being chief secretary for 3 years? That is huge, right? So try and prepare early, start soon, and make the best use of this competition. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Girish sir, for addressing the gathering. And you have elaborately explained how to study or what are the opportunities that we have. Mainly, you have explained us about UPS. Thank you so much, sir. And I'm sure students are benefited by our lecture, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I request I request Sri Narayana sir to come onto the dais and honor the guests. I request Sri Narayana sir to welcome, do the honors to Manjunath sir also. Dr. Sri Narayan sir will give us he'll address the gathering about this program.
Good afternoon to one and all. Respected guest of the day, Giri sir and Magna sir, Principal Anuradha Madam, faculty members, dear students. See, so far you heard what is the importance of competition examination. Why it is happening, why it is taking place. Why not promote everybody without competition examination? Why not promoting not all the educated people for a particular post? Why? What is the reason? The reason is for every profession, very efficiency is very important. Efficiency is very important. Even selecting the lecturers or any post, we will conduct this demo class. The reason is that whether they are capable of doing the work, see with the justification they can do it. To test that, to identify that, to confirm that, we will have this competitive examination, competitive test. See, Girish sir explained the importance of competition examination in daily life. But it is an opportunity to each and everyone. That is not restricted to any particular person. What is given examples, a fellow who's passed 10th standard, now able to go to the college only by studying this, that is what distance education. By doing the distance education only, he comes to the level of character. You can imagine, you can understand. It is not the property of anybody, but the effort they put, the method you follow, the method you learn, that is very, very important. I don't take my time, but even for Viva, you are studying. Even the Viva exam this interview person, they will put what are the things. When you come to Delhi, what are the things you have seen? Which are the places you have visited? What are the places you have seen in your neighboring villages, neighboring city? They will put simple questions. Yes, we will answer. If anybody asks, visited Padma Shri College, we will see. Then what are the things are there in Padma Shri colleges? How many roads are there? How many buildings are there? How many students are there? What types of buildings are there? If they put questions, we will not notice it. We will not notice it. Just we will visit and go. That is our work. We don't take interest to look to the things what are available, whether it is useful or not useful, whether it is beneficial to the students or the students what are undergoing the training is beneficial, good or what, we are not considering. Just visiting and will go. That means we have not taken anything. When say a person, a place is visited, first thing he has to understand really is all the things what is available. That is most important. Many times I am insisting these students. Every time, whenever I visit the classes, I insisting them to keep a diary, make a note what are the things you have come across. Then, see, whenever I put the questions when you visited some factory, if you have a note of all the things and you have collected the important notes, even for the, see, World Cup, how the World Cup is there, how it is, what is the shape, who has decided. See, when you visited the World Cup or exhibition, watching the team, watching the match, but we have to see if a person is interested to acquire more knowledge, you will collect all the information. You will not simply come out, just going and seeing what the football people kicking, writing, throwing, dubbing, all things. It is they will watch it simultaneously. What all other important things are there? that will be also be noticed. That is, see, when you are spending so much of money, the money should not be wasted. You should have knowledge. Information is most important. That is what Sir clearly explained all the things. I always insisting, whatever the things you come across, whatever the study you make, have a clear note. Make a note of important things. When you are free, you can look to it, you can memorize the things very easily. See, to get through the examination of all these things, it is very easy. I therefore, I request the students, see, you have got plenty of time, but we are not using it in a proper way. We are wasting. Whenever you get a time, see, for the competition and training centers are there. You should contact them. See, straight away, if you go to the competition examination, you cannot fare well. It is 100% true. There should be some medium. There should be some guide. See, to achieve your goal, target, your teachers are important. They are the medium. They will show the way how to reach the target. Like that, to get through the competition examination, you should also meet the proper person, take the proper guidance. With the help of that, you can build up your personality. Out of that personality, you can do individual development. Because we were studying individual development is most important. Without individual development, personality, but our education sometimes it goes waste. Only in a particular job, only on degree persons they will select. But in some other important courses, important job, they go all through all these things: personality, intelligence, knowledge, individuality, all things they will consider. I therefore insist to students, please don't, what the time you get, don't waste your time. At least utilize the maximum time for the education. See, you are studying in microbiology, but what sir is written is not written. See, when the competition examination goes, you have to study so many subjects. But particularly we Indians, we have to understand our Indian history, world history, and geography, world geography. That is most important thing. But no one, see, one other than your subject, I too have not studied geography or history or anything, but only what we studied in this high school, that is the only memory. Other things after high school, we don't study any Indian history or world history or world famous peoples. Even who are students who are here. See, Vishwesvaraya is one of the famous personality in the country, not in Karnataka, in country. But how many of you know what all the contribution is given to the country? You don't know. At least we have general knowledge is very much important, very much important. You have the time available other than your subjects. You should also study these general subjects. That will make your personality strong. Without strong personality, you cannot come up. Confidence, dedication, sincerity, commitment. These are the very important things for the students. See, for me, I am a very careless, negligent too. But fortunately, I have come across almost all senior officers, starting from the chief conservative officers. They were all my friends. I don't know how this God bless. I am a good sportsman. I used to go to this officers club. It's all officers. Even Ajay Kumar, he was the IG of Karnataka. Ajay Kumar Akhilesh, you know, Ajay Kumar Akhilesh, he is the IG of America. One Mr. Lakshman, he was the chief conservative officer. Sharan Chanwa. See, many of the people, many of these police people, revenue people, but only with all this training, dedication, study, and other things, they have got this more responsibility. We are producing so many IAS officers, IPS officers, so many other officers. They have learned so many things. But after going to the duty, it was mentioned one responsibility. If we do it in a responsibility, we can develop this state like a heaven. We can make it as a heaven. We can provide all good facilities to people. But unfortunately, our people, we are not getting that benefits. After getting to the seats, they will depend on most of the things. They will make a note, he said. But what I come to know, the case worker will make a note. And they will endorse it. Is it that? The case worker. Yes. They will endorse it. The IAS officer, he has to direct. He has to command. He will give all this responsibility to the case worker. What case workers will do? Whatever they see, whatever people who come and meet him, they will do in favor of him. His work is nothing. That is, responsibility of the officer is very much important. They should always keep it in mind. In your training, put them responsibility. What is responsibility? What are they are given? What is their duty? Whether they are doing that or not. The training for purpose, particularly you should insist on this. What is obviously, what is the, you are knowing what after all IAS officers know. They are these puppet and all of these politicians and some publics and then landlords. But what people will get, that also will be there. So I'm sorry, she's diverted. See, please, my students, I request the students, you have got all capability, efficiency, ability, but you are not utilizing, you are not doing it in a proper way. See, for students, the important thing is health, education, personality. Health is different. Health, you have to maintain it. Without any negligence, you have to maintain your health. Give importance to your education. And apart from the knowledge, you should have a discussion also. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving us a motivational speech. Now we have one more session. For that, I request Dr. Nagamani ma'am to introduce Sri Manjunath sir for the next session.
Thank you, Dr. Manjunath. I take this opportunity to introduce you all at another eminent personality, Sri Manjunath V. Sir is an engineering graduate in electronics and communications and worked with Monetary Private Limited for 3 years. He was successful clearing UPSC, APSC, PSI, International and National Financial Service Center Authority exams in mains as well as in interviews. Currently, he is nurturing the dreams of many ambitious candidates aiming to clear the civil service examinations. May I call upon Manjunath sir to address the gathering. Please.
Once again, I thank the Institute of Management Studies and Honorable Guest here for giving this opportunity to address the students. Let's start. What's the date today?
9.
Yesterday?
Yes.
What's the special day?
Women's Day.
Okay, can you name special women of India in different fields? Can you? Yes, from sports fields to politics, from sports to politics, from entrepreneurship to public administration. Can you name at least 2 in each fields, 2, 3? Can you? Yes? Raj, okay. Okay. Okay, super. Okay. Who is she? Okay, something like that. WHO. Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay. So it's part of IMF, International question is a follow-up on Girish experience in interview. Me and my roommate as the interview at same day. That is August 16. Okay, are you guys not interested? Okay, the follow-up, the experience in interview. Me and my roommate have a UPSC interview at same day. The board was respected Ajit Constellation board, and my roommate is the first one, and I have to go to second. So when he entered the room after verifying his detailed application form, sir asked the first question: "What's special today?" That day was August 16, and that was Parsi day. And he didn't know the answer because that was in the newspaper today. But I was ready. I was expecting the same question of when I entered the interview, but the question was different. There was no question regarding that. But when sir looked at my detailed application form, sir was surprised. Why? Because I've done engineering, computer science and engineering, and I worked as senior software engineer, Mindtree Limited. But I choose agriculture as optional subject. Agriculture. That's the beauty of UPSC. That gives so much diversity to choose whatever you want, whatever you pursue, whatever your passion is. There's no limit in it. Yes, that's agriculture I choose, and I successfully make it to interview. But in the last stage, I missed it by a few months to qualify in the finalists. But that's okay. Failure is part of life. But the knowledge but the knowledge you gain through when preparing for civil service, it never ever disappoints you in your life. Take it as a granted. Knowledge never disappoints you. Maybe success or failure, maybe you're on the other side of the table, but knowledge never disappoints you. Why I am saying this one? Second question asked was hobbies, regarding to hobbies. One of my hobby was barefoot trekking. Have you ever done trekking barefootly? That was one of my hobby. And sir asked me, even though I've been in Air Force for 35 years, I never trekked barefoot. Why did you trek? And what's the importance of barefoot trekking? And convinced me to trek barefoot next time. That was the follow-up question. That's all I saw. That's personality it's through UPSC only. And never other exams never provide that kind of opportunities, that kind of diversity, that kind of personality for you. All right. Okay. After listening to Girish sir, anyone wants to listen to other government exams, or you guys fixed for UPSC only? Okay. If you choose UPSC only, I'll stop explaining other services. But if you want to explore, I'll definitely go through. What do you choose? UPSC or other exams? Huh? Food sector exams. Okay, I'm not well versed with that. Sorry. Okay, I'll explain what I'm going with. But why not UPSC, sir? Why not UPSC? Why only you limited to food security? Why not UPSC? Yes, sir was told that if you are part of DC, you will be part of the department also, right? Okay, if you become DC of a district, you are part of that command only. You'll get the department under you only. Then why specialization in food security? Whether you want to be scientist or research fellow?
Agriculture are all the departments.
Okay.
I want to go in the food sector only.
Okay.
So I can ensure that food security is.
So you want to work in CFTRI? You ever heard of CFTRI? Where is the headquarters located? Where is the headquarters? Okay, any others who do not want to go specifically for UPSC but want to explore other fields like other state service exams, other banking exams, other police department exams? Okay, how many are from Karnataka here? So, okay, good. So then you heard of KAS. There's so much competition around here, okay? Too much competition around here. Okay, then you must start off KAS exams. Okay, similar to UPSC, KPSC also same exam patterns. It conducts in the 3 phases: prelims, mains, and interview. Prelims also it's an objective type questions. 2 papers, general studies 1 and general studies 2. But the syllabus is different for KPSC and UPSC. When it comes to KPSC, you will focus more on state issues with respect to history, with respect to geography, and state-related issues. And in paper 2 also, majorly combines of general science, agriculture, environment, and then mental ability. That's paper 2. That's prelims is part of objective. And then when it comes to mains, UPSC you have 7 subjects, right? 5 general studies papers and 2 papers for one single optional subject. But in KPSC, there is no option for choosing optional subject. They're restricted to just only 5 mains papers. That is one essay papers and rest of 4 is general studies papers. Same like UPSC patterns. But the difference between UPSC and KPSC is, Survey has said UPSC requires more of analysis, more of dynamic, more of your understanding. But KPSC little less compared to UPSC. So it is like more back degree exams. Yes. And then when it comes to interview, it has 50 marks only. Maybe probably you guys taking the exams next year will be reduced to 25 marks also. Yes. There's a pattern of KPSC also. And selection pattern is also like that only. When it comes to mains after qualifying fields, it's 1:12 ratio. And from mains to interview, 1:3 ratio. So this exam is also conducted by KPSC, Karnataka Public Service Commission. It's one of the constitutional bodies also. Just like UPSC, and KPSC also one of the constitutional bodies. It has responsibility to conduct exams with respect to state services. And KS and okay, similar to UPSC, competition is also. I've seen many hands are raised. So much competition here also. But when you go out of the degree and when you look at competitive field, yes, competition is also in state services. Because many of the aspirants who are preparing for UPSC, they are also getting hand to KPSC also. Because it becomes relatively easy for KPSC who prepared for UPSC also. And it's same with respect to other state services also. Different states have state service exams. And similarly, it will be easy KPSC also. And competition. Okay, these are the services which are offered by KPSC case. One of the top posts in KPSC is Assistant Commissioner Revenue. And second is device by Deputy Superintendent of Police Home Department. And then Tahsildar. He will be the boss of Taluk, just like DC is the boss of district. And Tahsildar, he looks after the activities of particular Taluk. And then AC, Commercial Tax, District Social Welfare, Taluk Social Welfare Officer and Treasury Officers. And other 12 to 15 services are there. Yes, you will get posted depending upon your ranking and your preferences also. And also with respect to KPSC, other than KS, with respect to KPSC, KS is the top post service conducted by state service. Other than KPSC and KS, the KPSC also conducts other exams like FDA, SDA, First Division Assistant, Second Division Assistant. And it also conducts non-technical posts with respect to Junior Assistant, Bill Collector, Labor Inspector, Marketing Supervisor, First Year Revenue Inspector. And the other is Assistant Conservative Forest. This is eligible only for science students. Assistant Conservative Forest, only for science students, not for BCom, MBA, only for science students, and engineering graduates or BSc, PCM, CVZ, only eligible for ACF. This is one of the best post in Karnataka after Indian Forest Service. Anyone who enjoys forest, who enjoys adventures in forest, yes, you can choose ACF and science background students, ACF. And then Panchayat Development Officer, Secretary. A word of Panchayat Development Officer, Secretary. Yes, after KPSC, you can go to State Police Requirement. In Karnataka, State Police, State Police also requires different posts for different services. One is Police Sub-Inspector Civil, Police Sub-Inspector for Reserve, and Police Sub-Inspector for Excise Department. These are the different services conducted by State Department, not KPSC, but KSP, Karnataka State Police. Both are different exams. So it has an inspector. When it comes to police, you will have to qualify physically. They have some physical requirements also with regard to height. Just wait, you have to complete running in 1600 meters in 7 minutes. These are the physical requirement. You must qualify before you eligible for next round. That's objective type questions. Same with respect to civil reserve and excise also both. And central police organizations provide different opportunities for who are working, who wants to be dynamic in the fields. Yes, Intelligence Bureau, Assistant Central Intelligence Officer. Heard of Intelligence Bureau? Yes. What is it? Intelligence Bureau. Intelligence Bureau. You have heard of internal security of India. Yes, these are the people who manages internal security with respect to anything from narcotics to terrorism to Naxalism to communal rights. They all track everything and they report to the respective governments or respective departments. Intelligence Bureau. And next is CBI. You have heard of CBI? Yes, it provides great opportunities for CBI also. And then NIA. You have heard of NIA, National Investigation Agency? Yes, it invests one of the top most crimes in India, whether it respects to economic crimes or terrorism crimes. Any topmost crimes are investigated by National Investigation Agency. And then RAW. Heard of RAW? Where Bollywood, Salman Khan movies. RAW. What is RAW? Yes, it's one of, just like IB's internal security wing, and RAW provides you work outside India with respect to intelligence, research and analysis wing. It's one of the best dynamic post in India. Who is our current national security advisor? Yes, he is part of the team. RAW. That's if you're part of that RAW and if you qualify for IPS, you can occupy that topmost position in India, national security advisor. Who is the one who is advising Prime Minister and Cabinet to take decisions with respect to international affairs and also internal security. And then CAPF, Central Armed Police Force. It's conducted by UPSC also. UPSC. It provides different services like BSF, Border Security Force, Central Reserve Police Force, Central Industrial Security Force, ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police. These are the security forces which borders India and China borders. And Shasastra Singh Bubble, India and Myanmar. And when it comes to BSF, India and Pakistan borders. These are the forces which borders India across. And this exam is conducted by UPSC, CAPF, Central Armed Police Forces. Okay, this is with respect to both Karnataka State Civil Services and all Police Department services. And here comes favorite venture for management guys, BCom, BBM, MBA, right? Banking. Banking. Probation officers in public sector undertakings. Can you name any public sector undertakings with respect to banks? Public sector undertaking banks, nationalized banks. Do you have bank accounts, right? Yes. There you work as assistant manager, probation officers in public sector undertakings. These exams conducted by IBPS, Institute for Banking and Personal Selections. This is all computer-based test. This is one of the best clean selection process happens in India, banking process. Without delays, without corruption, and clean process because it happens in online mode, computer. Okay, if anyone want to venture into banking sector, please you can venture into these options, probationary officers. And also it gives opportunity for regional rural banks, both PSCs and regional rural banks. Okay, you can start, this is the hierarchy where you can start a bank PO and you can end up CGM or GM, General Manager of particular bank. Yes, look at the hierarchy. You start with assistant manager at around 20 to 23 years of age. By retirement around 55 or 60, you will end up as general manager of particular bank. That's huge responsibility, and that gives opportunity by IBPS banking. Okay, these are the examples who are the people come from science background and cleared IBPS are joined into PO and occupied top services. And yes, similar to other exams, banking is not limited only to management people. There's too much competition from engineers like us. Okay, you have to compete engineers, UPSC aspirants. These are the people. Arun Tiwari, BSc Chemistry, right now CMD of Union Bank of India. KR Kamath, BCom from Mysore, and CMD of Punjab National Bank. Arundhati Bhattacharya, heard of it? Yes, chairman of SBI. BA in Literature, Arts, Literature, and then banking and become chairman of one of the top most banks in India. Alright, and then similarly K. Dubai, MA in English, and then CMD of Canada, LLB, lawyer, and then CMD of Canada Banks. So when you graduate out of your college, the field, provides you different and diversified opportunities to get into whatever you deserve or whatever you choose, whatever your passion deserves, drives you. And then choose accordingly. Whether you go for civil services, yes, please focus on civil services, and the rest it falls apart. And if you want to go interested in banking, yes, you can go choose banking services, go for it. Never limit to any particular this thing. Alright, but preparing for UPSC, it gives a different platform altogether for you to pursue other fields also. Not just as success in different qualified jobs or services, it develops a different personality altogether. The kind of knowledge, the kind of friends you make, the kind of books you read, it's completely different. It's like the famous quote says, knowledge shapes perceptions, and perceptions shapes priorities, and priorities shapes people. So it's up to go back to the roots of knowledge, and the knowledge leads to people. When Girish was telling that you need not be a product of IIMs and IITs, yes, any humble background people who have burning desire to achieve something without any excuses, yes, you can achieve anyone. And don't take any excuses that I come from a rural background. No, because the world is in your hands. Within a press of a button, you can access anything. So in that situation, taking any excuses and making actually fool of yourself for blaming others is not a good way to live. All right. And any ambitious people also don't need any motivations also. It's a self-motivation is very important for ambitious people. Please be ambitious in life, and everything will follow. And it's like dream big, big things will come your way. Always dream big. Take risks. Nothing will happen. Life is always a journey. You have to take risks. Yes. Are you ready to take risks? Are you ready to take risks? Risk in the sense that's an intelligent way of taking risks, not like blindly going through. The what passion derives you or desires you, go for that. Take any risk, whether it's civil services, whether it's banking, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's public administration, whatever you choose. Yeah, choose it wisely and go give it completely 100%. Whether you're part of that success story or not, that's a different issue. But yes, that journey you'll enjoy, and the life makes it beautiful. That journey. All right. Yes. And the other banking is RBI, one of the topmost bank in India. Okay, RBI grade B also provide various opportunities. One of the best posts in banking sector is RBI grade B. Yes, if you qualify on RBI grade B at early level, you can go up to deputy governor of RBI. Imagine deputy governor of RBI. You can explore this option as RBI grade B. Similarly, we have NABARD. Ever heard of this? NABARD? NABARD. National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. It's completely owned by Government of India, 100% stakeholding, and it's very important institution for rural development and agriculture sector. Anything the funds come from Government of India, it is channeled to NABARD only. And any state government want to make policies, it will make through policies with respect to rural development and agriculture, it makes through NABARD only. Any policies with respect to agriculture and NABARD, this is done through NABARD only. Yes, it's also provide good opportunity for you to serve the country. NABARD, very good institutions. And people who want to settle early, who don't want to risk anything, yes, NABARD is the one best options. NABARD, very good institutions. NABARD, completely owned by Government of India. NABARD. And similar to NABARD, okay, assistant manager to director of NABARD. You can climb up to director level. That's a huge responsibility. Thousands of crores you have that responsibility, and across India, you have complete responsibility all over India with respect to rural development and agriculture. Yes, you can make policies all over India. That's the best opportunity is NABARD, is the opportunity by NABARD. And then SIDBI, Small Industrial Development Bank of India. Yes, where you heard of MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. Yes, major of Indian economic contributions comes from MSMEs only. Nearly 80% of India's economy is informal, and more than 40% of India's GDP comes from MSMEs. Very important institutions, MSMEs. And yes, SIDBI, you can try for that also. It's also one of the good institutions. And the MSMEs are also called as, these are the backbone of India's growth engine. Yes, you can also make success stories. You can have impact in MSMEs. 60-70% of rural people depends on MSMEs only. From funding to branding to marketing, everything MSMEs plays very important role. And MSMEs cannot compete with the major MNCs like Adidas, Puma, right? So it's MSMEs, and that's where Atmanirbhar Bharat, our self-reliant India, that comes into picture. Yes, you are part of India. You have to take that responsibility and feel that yes, I can contribute to make India a self-sustainable, self-reliant. Yes, because of Ukraine war going on, we are dependent on fossil fuels. We are not able to make complete unilateral decisions because we are dependent on something with respect to other countries. When you become self-reliant in any other fields, whether it comes to science and technology, fossil fuels, we have vested demographic dividend. People like you. India's mean age is 27 years of age, and 35% of population is below 50%. Yes. If you commit, India will be one of the superpowers in near terms. That will be in your hands only. You can explore different fields and contribute as much you can. Yes, India provides that opportunities. Right. And then second, with respect to banking, insurance sector, you can explore this also, both private and public sectors. These are all insurance sectors. Yes. You can also explore this insurance sectors also. And then SSC, Staff Selection Commission, it also provides different diversified things to work in different government departments with respect to ministries, central government ministries. Different ministries are there, right? Home Ministry, Finance Ministry, Agriculture Ministry, Rural Development Ministry, Panchayat Ministry. Across all departments, you will get a chance to work with when you qualify SSC. It also good post SSC. So it's differentiated into two sectors. One is desk job and field job. Anyone who wants to be part of office, they don't want to go venture into outside field. Yes, you can take desk job options from SSC. Like you can work with foreign ministry, central sector schemes, designing policies, moving files. Yes, and then when it comes to field job, yes, it's provide different opportunities to income tax inspector, excise inspector, preventive officer, examiner, enforcement. Look at the diversity of that post. You can explore SSC also. It's one of the diversified field also, SSC, Staff Selection Commissions. Of course, whatever you choose in government fields, it provide you social identity, respect, responsibility, and everyone definitely will respect you. Yes, if any MNC company with thousands of course wants to any clearance, they will come to you. They come at your desk. They usually the guys who work in MNCs, they used to travel in RD Benz, Jaguar, right? But some issues comes, they are come in front of you, sit in front of your desk, requesting for your signature or clearances. There are enormous powers and responsibilities too. So choose whichever field you deserve, or whichever field you want to choose it wisely. And before you choose, please consult any of your elders, you take guidance, and then go for it. Do not take it blindly. Do not venture unnecessary. Take risk, but not unnecessary risk. Do not take any blind risks. Yes, you have teachers in the field, you have elders, any seniors, aspirants, elder brothers, elder sisters, anyone who are in part of the field. Talk with them, and then choose go accordingly. And then yes, this is one of the topic you must explore yourself, self-employment. Whether you want to be a job seeker or a job giver, you have to decide. Because management gives you opportunity to give jobs, right? Management. And entrepreneurship, very, very important part of India for job creation. When you guys go out of college, other than government exams, whether you want to choose private sector, someone has to create that private sector, private companies, right? Who will be that persons? You only. And yes, you can have the opportunity to give job seeker also. And let me give you an example. Last year, India created 44 unicorn companies alone. You ever heard of unicorn companies? Unicorn. Anyone doing PG must have heard of unicorn companies. Yes, unicorn companies, the company worth $1 billion. I repeat, $1 billion. How much is 1 billion? How much? How much is 1 billion? 10 crores? 50? Yes, $100 crore worth of companies. When it converted to Indian rupees, it's almost 7,500 crore worth of companies. Last year, India alone created 44 companies. You know where those companies are mostly found in? Which city? Yes, Bangalore. Bangalore, highest unicorn companies. And this year, in just 1 month, as of February 9th, India created 7 other unicorn companies. 7 other companies in just 1 month. It's like every week we are creating one unicorn company. It's because of potential people like you, young talents, who venture into self-employment, who want to give employment to other peoples, who want to invest in India, who want to settle in India. That's best part of self-employment. Yes. If anyone interested in self-employment, please explore it. Please explore it. Be a job provider also. And it's very, very important for demographic dividend of India. Right? Please explore self-employment also. And yes, meets rural background Kannada medium, yes. So I won't go much into it because Girish sir has given you one of the beautiful examples of how anyone who comes from humble background without anything, but you have the burning desire to go to any extent, yes. Nothing, and no one can stop from anyone. All right, please don't excuse yourself. You guys are matured. You are going to be graduates. Never point towards anyone. Explore yourself. World is at your hands. And yes, there is no such thing as failure. Failure is just life trying to move us in another direction. Okay, take it as a positive shift. Because when it comes to failures, yes, it's a short-term thing. Failure, yes, you disappoint when you're not part of a success story. Yes, you will disappoint it, but that's the short-term measure. But life moves on. Because last year I missed it by few marks, qualified to the finalist of UPSC. But it's part of life too. I never settled, I never disappointed. Yes, you have to come back, more strongly, like a bird of phoenix. You have heard of phoenix bird? Yes, go and watch that bird today, as many times as you want. It comes out of ashes. You want to be like phoenix bird. Come out of that. And this is very important for you. Can you read it strong? Can you read it loudly? Is it visible? Yes. Can you read it? Will you promise me that you will take responsibility of your own life? Will you promise? And yes, you have to take it. No one comes up. And that will be best day of your life. When you accept success, when you accept failure wholeheartedly, yes. And that will be your best day of your life. And you will experience after once your graduation and comes into a competitive field, you will experience that. That's from my end. Any questions? Any questions? Any QAs? Okay, before I end up, anyone interested in reading habits? Reading any hobbies? Okay, at least from tomorrow or today, I'm not speculating. Make a habit of reading. I will suggest some of the beautiful names India has. Please go through it, whether it's in documentaries, movies, or books. One of the important personalities India starts with is Chanakya. Yes, whenever you get time, watch his documentaries, serials, or books, Chanakya. And then it comes to 20th century, Swami Vivekananda, Arvind Ghosh, and another genius of 20th century is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, and then Subhash Chandra Bose. And another important personality, especially with respect if you want to venture into spiritual journey, Jiddu Krishnamurti. Please explore these people. It will completely change your personality. I know academics is important for you, job is important for you, but other than that, more than that, personality is also important for you. That personality comes while reading these kind of authors. Please don't miss it, okay? And also be proud of your roots. Yes. Thank you.
Names. Kiran Bedi. Kiran Bedi.
Maybe you read Kathopanishad. It's the best dialogue between Gargi and Adani. It's Kathopanishad. It's a dialogue between Gargi and Maitreya. I think. Sorry for that. Yes, you can read it. You can find this. Yes, Sudhamurti. And depends which field you choose, you can go for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sri Ganesh sir. Students, please bear with us 5 more minutes. We're going to wind up the session.
Mr. Girish, that I am in my age of 50 plus. But when I was in my 21 age of 21,